In order to present literature on Novi Sad, we decided at the beginning of this year to make a volume or to edit a magazine with German translation of contemporary literary scene, and it was Magazin Polja. Magazin Polja is very important in Novi Sad culture for last 40-50 years because it was really important in Yugoslavia also. Many authors from Slovenia, Croatia were publishing there, and it was always connected with something new, modern, literary theory, anthropology and other things. So Polja is a very good media by itself, and then editor of Polja, Alen Bešić, and me decided to make a panorama of contemporary Novi Sad literary scene in German, and we included, of course, poetry, prose, and essays, especially essays about Novi Sad or about Novi Sad literary scene. So this is really like an attempt to present the quality of the literary scene, and I have to say that last 2 or 3 years I really see something new and important happening in Novi Sad in terms of literature. I think that also this European Capital of Culture gave certain self-confidence to the authors, especially of the younger generations. Also, many new literary programs and spaces were introduced, and probably that also helped to shape this kind of writing. So Polja, I think, would be interesting for any reader in German language, especially for, of course, people interested in South Slavic context, but also for people interested in some generations issue, etc. But I have to say, when we started this project, that was at the end of last 2019. And at the beginning of this year, we finished. And we had to go to Leipzig to present this volume of Polja. And then, Corona happened, and it was stopped. And Leipzig book fair was first book fair that was cancelled, as far as I know. Now we are here in virtual book fair of Vienna, and we are thinking about DONAU, Danube area, and this Polja really belongs to that area, to something Central European, to something which is connected with, as Danilo Kiš would like to say, reflective literature, something connected with poetics, poetic and ethics, thinking about the issues which are really important. And I have to say that we really expect from this issue to bring something new, especially for new writers in German language, because usually connections are strong, but we think that they could be stronger. And if I see something as a deficit of literary scene in Novi Sad, it would be connections with international scene. I mean, there are connections, but they could be more formal, more institutional, more project-oriented. And this magazine will have that. Also, whole idea of European Capital of Culture, as we are trying to realize it in Novi Sad, it's not anymore 2021, now it's 2022. We got some time, but we lost a lot because of Corona pandemic. And we are trying really to make something different in terms of literary programs. So we gathered different aspects of literary scene because it's a complex. Novi Sad is not a small city, but I must admit it's not also big city. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not metropolis. You don't have that kind of plurality. But it's not also provincial town. And we have to find, in terms of culture, new models to present it. We have plurality of literature here. We have different aspects, different approaches to literature, different way of thinking about literature and culture, but how to bring this together. And then we were thinking how to organize that. The good thing is that we managed to, in cooperation with city government and other actors on the scene, to bring new quality in terms of spaces and places which could be used for cultural programs and also literature programs. For example, now we are sitting in Svilera, or silk factory. That's a former real silk factory with really rich history. But now it was emptied, And European Capital of Culture, Novi Sad, started to reconstruct it. And now we have a very, very beautiful place for literary programs, for artistic exhibitions, for any kind of presentations connected with art and culture. And there are also others, like EdSheg and some others. And the good thing is also that we are trying to include periphery of the city. Because, you know, 10, 20 years ago, when city was much smaller, then periphery was totally abandoned in terms of culture. But now there is an interest, there are interests of young people, and we are trying to connect them. And literature is also one of the aspects of all of that. And Polja is just a small step. Other things are also connected with translations of the books, with grants for translations, grants for literary programs, new festivals or new way of presenting literature. We gathered independent scene and make a new program called Literary Machine. Then we were talking and organizing something together with EUNIC cluster, with Cultural Center of European Embassies, and we made an event for the first time in September. It was online, but it was really nice when one local writer interviewed one foreign writer in terms of poetics, politics, ideology, cultural ideology, etc. So I think that if in few sentences I will be forced to say what is literature in Novi Sad 2022 European Capital of Culture, I have to say that it's an attempt to connect past, because Novi Sad was really in 19th century the capital of Serbian culture, but also it was always multicultural. Today, it's not capital of culture, but it's an important city for culture, and it's an important city for really something new, creative, and of course oriented to European values. In times of Corona and COVID disease, we do many things online, as also this my little speech. But I think that we will manage in 2002 really to realize programs to give people self-confidence and to make literature great again in Novi Sad.